Banners. Oh, wait, there we are. Wait for it. And we are live. What's happening? It is Brian from SeacoastBeverageLab.com, and this is episode number 102 of the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast for Wednesday, the 14th of January, 2015. Man, it is nippy out there if you live in New Hampshire or anywhere in New England, probably Maine, but that's all the time. That's all year round. But yes, we have a very special guest yet again in their studio, aka Brewery. I am a horrible host and have no beer in my fridge, so I went to the way back and pulled out a couple of cold snaps from Sam Adams because A, it's cold outside, and B, once again, I'm a horrible host and nothing in my fridge besides that one beer. And this particular brewery I could have drove to after work today, and I didn't, just to get a beer. But we'll get to that later. It's not about me. Ladies first, Carla, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Carla Jean Lauder here, known online as @BeerBabe, and news to me is that I changed my Google Plus profile, so I don't have to change my new last name every time I come in here now, so I'm all proud of myself. I am drinking a Long Trail Sick Day IPA, just also hanging around in my fridge. I have the fridge problem where I have the stuff that's too good to break open on a normal weeknight.
Yeah.
I have nothing else. So I've got.
First of all,
I have 2013 pool ships and nothing drinkable.
I think Wednesday nights, for the podcast, you can bring out anything. So next time, I'm in the same conundrum. My wife likes the sour beers, and she likes to put them in the fridge, and I don't like them. So it's
you can send all of those to me. That's
no. She'll have them sometime, but the thing is, it's for the first time in our marriage that the fridge has her beer in it, which is crazy. But anyway, Sean, speaking of marriage issues, what's happening?
Hey, I'm Sean Jansen from twobeerguys.com. I am currently drinking, and actually, I did go shopping today.
Yes.
So.
Where'd you go? Shout out.
I went to Burt's Better Beer in Hooksett, New Hampshire, one of the top beer stores in New Hampshire. And I picked up, right now I'm currently drinking a Ninth State Red IPA from 603 Brewery.
Very interesting. You should try that beer because if you see below me, we have three people from 603 Brewery. We have Tamsin, Jeff, and Dan of 603 Brewery out of Londonderry. How is it going, guys and girls?
Good.
Awesome. What are you guys drinking? I imagine it's maybe your beer?
I am drinking the 603 white IPA called White Peaks.
Excellent.
It's very tasty after a long day.
I have the Granite Stout, which was crowd selected last January, and it's our stout on tap today.
Ooh,
and
nice.
I'm drinking Cogway IPA. It's kind of our middle IPA, medium malt body with a nice little hop bite to it.
Awesome. Well, Jesus, guys, thanks for joining us, and we hope you don't leave too soon if Sean and I get a little bit too crazy on the show. But Carla tries to keep us in line, so we should be all set.
We got a babysitter. We're good to go.
Exactly. She stays with us as long as she can. No, I'm just kidding, Carla. But, yes, if you're watching live, go over to sblpodcast.com right now, and you can ask. Sean will be the resident babysitter in the chat, feeding us questions from you guys. So head on over to sblpodcast.com, check it out, ask away. I guess the easiest thing to tee off with is how'd you guys get started, and you're kind of different because you've been in a couple locations before, or you're now in your second location. But how 603 become a brewery here?
Back in 2012, the idea kind of came together. Dan and I started the brewery up in Campton, New Hampshire. But really, the brewing started back in college. We all three of us met in college down in UMass Dartmouth. Yeah. And School of Engineering. And ever since, freshman, sophomore year, after I met Dan, he's been dialing in some recipes. Actually, the Ninth State was a key recipe that got us all started. But yeah, in 2012, I got sick of my full-time job, and Dan said, I can make beer, and I said, I can hopefully run a company, and here we are today.
Nice. So how long? What'd you guys start out with in Campton, and how many beers did you guys brew up there?
Hit that one.
We started off with a really small system. We were making about a barrel at a time, and we were kind of just doing it on the weekends to prove it out. Winnie Ale was our very first beer. It was an amber, just one that we've always enjoyed. Then after that, we kind of expanded the range a little bit, but things just took off a lot faster than we were anticipating. Can't complain about that, but so what we did is we grew out of that space real quick and looked for a new home. Something with a lot more room, better convenience, access, things like that, town utilities and whatnot. And we found a nice spot here in Londonderry. Moved down in, started build out last October. I think we're running last November, so we've been here a little over a year now.
That was a quick turnaround.
Oh, it was an insane time. I was leaving my job. We were still brewing the entire time, signing with a distributor, and moving to a new facility. It was crazy, but luckily we didn't miss a beat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But now we're on a 15 barrel system.
Nice.
So yeah, there was a small jump there.
Yeah, just a little bit of a leap.
Yeah.
Well, to fill in the gap, so we went from a 1 barrel to a 3 barrel that we re-engineered to be a 7 barrel, and then from that 7 barrel we moved down to Londonderry, and then while using the 7 barrel we introduced the 15 barrel. So it wasn't a complete 1 to 15.
But that was all in a 12-month period.
Yeah.
It was a little crazy.
Yep.
Now, for many of our listeners to the podcast, they might not be familiar with how you guys selected your name. Can you go? Is there a little story about that?
Sure. We started out, I guess there's no harm in saying it now, we were going to be the Winnipesaukee Brewing Company, and when we went to file the paperwork, someone had already used that.
Oh.
We're like, all right. Then we were like, well, what about White Mountain? But White Mountain Distillery had already launched, so that was like name number 2. And so then Dan came up with a list of like everything he could think of like, this is my list. And like number 5 on the list was 603 Brewery. We're like, that's it. That's who we want to be.
We knew the brand before we knew the name.
Yeah.
We knew we wanted to do something New Hampshire-centric. We knew that would resonate with New Hampshire people, New Hampshireites. So, but then when 603 came across, it was like, boom, yes.
Yeah, no one had it. No other businesses had used it for a
took
brewery.
About 30 seconds once we threw the name out there that everyone said, yep, that's the one. It was a good feeling to lock in on it when you heard it.
It's interesting because a lot of our other names have become our beer names. So White Mountain, we kind of morphed into the White Peaks, which is the chairlift at Waterville Valley.
Yep.
Ninth State is what Sean's drinking tonight, which was one of our names to be the Ninth State Brewery.
Winnipesaukee is Winnie Ale.
Winnie Ale.
Nice.
So a lot of our names for our brewery morphed into our beer names.
And the name 603 might be the last thing we've all agreed on.
That's awesome. Name of the brewery, and Fight.
Yes.
Well, and I'll play just a little bit of a devil's advocate, but with a name like 603 being the area code of New Hampshire, was it kind of a little bit scary at first to say, okay, it's kind of a big name to represent an entire state. Did you have any kind of hesitations about naming it like that?
We, you know what, we just decided we're going to do our best to kind of pay homage to it.
Cool.
And we understand that it's our name, but we don't own that name. We're a part of something a lot bigger.
I think it also helped coming from out of state to realize how good New Hampshire is, and we see it from an outsider's perspective, and it's been mine, Tamsin's home for 10+ years now, and Dan's lived here for 4 or 5?
No, 6 now.
6 now?
Yeah.
So we've grown to love it, whereas, if we were born and raised, we wouldn't know any different. So, yeah, hopefully we're doing well enough to represent the 603.
Nice. Like the answer.
Very cool. And you had mentioned a couple of your beers, when you first came on about what you guys were drinking, but also for those who haven't had your brews yet, do you want to give us like kind of a little run through of what your kind of your staple beers are, or what what you typically brew, or what people should expect from you guys?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit on that. Yeah, we really try to make a beer that's really accessible to people. Something that it's going to have kind of a widespread interest to it. So, our Winnie, our amber, designed that one to be a little bigger, a little sweeter than your typical amber. White Peaks IPA, we call that one our intro IPA. So that's kind of a lighter, mostly Cascade hops in that one. But then we build on that with the Cogway IPA, which we start adding a bigger malt backbone and more hops to it. And then we push it kind of the next level with the Ninth State, which is this super malty, big kind of citrus hop profile IPA. So I like malty IPAs, if you can tell. But then, we also have some fun stuff that we like to do, like the new Waterville Wheat that came out. That's just a nice, easy, sessionable beer. It's done great. Yeah, it just came out a few months ago.
Sean.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Very nice. Yeah, but ultimately we're trying to make beers that people want to drink and that we want to drink.
Excellent. And how many beers do you have on tap at your brewery currently that people can come and either get a growler of or just try?
Yeah, we have 10 on tap at the brewery, and that includes a nitro line.
Great.
So right now we have our what do we have? We have Granite Stout, which is a nice big American stout. We got our Fireside Smoke Porter. Then we got all our regulars. And then actually coming up, Damson can tell you what we're doing starting Friday.
Yeah.
Starting Friday, so last January we had a beer challenge when we were doing our Granite Stout.
Wait, hold on one sec. Oh, wrong one.
And we're back.
Fired.
We did our Granite Stout last January, and everyone who came into the brewery during the month of January and part of February got to vote. We gave them 3 stouts, and we said, tell us which one you love.
Nice.
And so they took it so seriously. Every single person voted. Some people came in for round 2 to vote again.
Yeah, so the winner of that round went on to face 2 additional stouts in the next round. So we had over a month of tasting and voting on different stouts.
And the winner, which was crowd selected, became our stout, the Granite Stout, which we were very proud of, and it's been a very successful beer for us. This January, starting on Friday night, we are launching 3 brown ales. And so we haven't had a brown ale in our lineup yet, and we have 3 brown ales by 3 different brewers in-house. Nice. There's a nut brown,
we have a bourbon coffee brown.
And
we have kind of an Indian brown, so a hoppy brown.
Wait, back up. Bourbon and coffee and brown?
Yeah, this is pretty wild. So what we did is we took hazelnut coffee, and then we soaked it, and actually, frankly, I'm a little aggravated because we used my good bourbon.
Oh, son of a...
So we soaked it in some really nice Knob Creek, and then that actually got added to the secondary to sit on for a couple weeks. Uh-huh. It's a pretty cool beer, so I'm looking forward to getting some feedback on it from everyone beginning Friday.
Hell yeah, man! Oh God, and Hoppy Brown. Oh, I'll be there in a second. I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
It's exciting for us because our fans get so into it, and our customers, and they work so hard in determining their vote. And for the stout, it paid off tenfold. This is a fantastic beer. So for the brown, everybody is so excited on which brown, and especially in-house, it's become a show-off competition.
But to answer Sean's next question, we have no idea if and when we're going to release it into production.
Yeah.
It'll be a brewery-only beer.
You can talk business after the podcast, Sean.
There you go.
This is crazy. No. It's all right.
But so in addition to going to the tasting room that you guys have at the brewery, where else can people find your beers, and what states are you available in, and what kind of packages do you sell it in?
We can be found basically from corner to corner in New Hampshire, and only New Hampshire right now. We want to take care of New Hampshire first, and right now we're we're having a decent time keeping up. So, which is great news. And we don't have any plans to move out of state at this time. And so, yeah, please look for us at basically every craft beer store, almost everywhere. But Market Basket.
Yeah, our can. So we're in 22-ounce bottles and in cans, 12-ounce 6-pack cans, and then on draft, obviously. But yeah, you can find the cans, I think, just about everywhere now, including Hannaford's.
Hannaford's done a great job doing it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was typing in our chat that the Newfields Country Store is. I'm pointing at it. It's right out my window, and they close at 7. And I didn't get it there, but it's there.
Oh!
It's there. I can see it. It's in the fridge right there.
But yeah, the local support is it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we really appreciate it, and we love seeing people come into the tasting room too.
We were nervous when leaving Campton. I mean, Campton. Everybody knows everybody in Campton, so we were nervous about what it would do to our brand and all. But honestly, Londonderry has been so welcoming that we miss Campton, but we haven't looked back. Really,
yeah, we made the right choice coming down here.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a great location too. And you've already hopped into another question I was going to ask is the reception that you're getting from Londonderry. But you're in such a great location where folks going to Manchester or going up to the mountains, they're going to pass you. You know, going any direction. Yeah. So it's such a great 93 hub that you're at, Route 93 for those that are looking at a map. It's just a great location. I mean, was that
literally 3 minutes off the highway?
Crazy.
Not even. Yeah, we're about a half mile off exit 5 off 93. So
yeah. So for those that are listening or watching, you have zero excuse not to visit it. Is what we're trying to say.
When we made the decision to, real quick, sorry. When we made the decision to move, obviously, mine and Tamsin's home had something to do with it. We're pretty close to the brewery, but we were definitely focused on the 93 highway and being close to the highway so we get the traffic back and forth. And within the last year, we found out that Red Arrow Diner is going in across the street, as well as a New Hampshire liquor store. So
hey, what?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that's going to help a little bit. But I wanted to tell a little story about our first week in Londonderry. We were bottling beers one day, and we get this knock on the door, which we try to keep locked during the week to keep out the riffraff and sales guys. But we get this knock on the door, all these official-looking people, and I've come to find out it's the Londonderry Fire Department, and they're all dressed up and looking official, and I'm nervous. I'm looking around, what'd we do? And turns out they wanted to help us.
They just wanted to come by and say hi.
They wanted to check out the brewery.
See if we needed help.
Yeah, see if there was any job openings or anything. So we're still good friends with them, and a couple of them put in some hours from time to time. But that just gives you an idea of how good the reception's been here in Londonderry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
John, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I was gonna just ask sort of when you guys first started, you were basically just 22-ounce bottles only.
Yes.
And I believe it was last January, almost a year ago, right now, when you went into draft for the first time. That was kind of a big step. But even bigger than that was the idea to go into 12-ounce cans. You kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of the decision process, and is it easy? Is it something that you recommend to others to do?
I love cans. Yeah.
He's talking about beer cans.
I love beer cans too.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, once you really do the research onto it, and for folks who watch this podcast, they're probably preaching to the choir, but you get a better product out of a beer can now. It's not your dad's beer can. Everything is micro-lined, so that beer is never touching that aluminum. What spoils beer? What skunks beer? It's light and it's oxygen, and those are the two things that cans are great at blocking. You can't get light through there, and there's no crown to expand and contract with heat. So once you get that can sealed, I mean, you're getting keg beer out of a can. It's just a great product. We really enjoy it. The canning process is super cool. we use a mobile canning service right now, Ironheart. And without that, we wouldn't be able to do it because a canning line costs nearly $250,000 to get set up. So to have him be able to literally just roll his equipment in, we set it up over our floor drain. We run for anywhere from probably 10 to 14 hours, depending on how much we're going to can. Then he cleans up and goes away and takes his really expensive equipment with him. We enjoy it. I recommend it.
Yeah.
I would really like to see more people enter the can market and just kind of break the stigma, and try beer in a can now.
But honestly, if you compare cans, 12-ounce cans to 12-ounce bottles, it's not even fair to compare the cost. And that's kind of my focus. I'm looking at it saying it's a non-starter to think about going into 12-ounce bottles. We can't afford it. Flat out can't afford it. They don't make, as far as I know, mobile bottlers for 12-ounce bottles. So, I mean, when it came to cost, that was a slam dunk. It was cans all the way. And again, I mean, like Dan said before, we try to focus on an approachable, accessible beer. Everybody wants a six-pack at some point. They want to move from the 12 or 22-ounce bottles to a six-pack or something in larger volume, and cans was an easy decision for us.
It's nice, and what's cool for places like
not to mention all the environmental and the tourism in New Hampshire that appeals to cans, or cans appeal to them. Hiking, fishing, skiing,
Boating.
Yeah, people are really great about taking pictures of the cans either on the lake or on a mountain or on a hike and sending them to us, and we have a lot of fun with that.
And I think it's especially if you have how many of your beers do you have in cans?
Four
now.
We have 4 different brands in cans now.
4, and then even with places like Burt's or other places that now allow mixing, they can just take a mix 6 of just your cans, which is pretty cool.
Right.
That's cool.
So I mean, and you really could get a mixed 6-pack of Bombers, but what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, but personal beer, but yeah, it's cool. Wait, Sean,
we do that.
Hold it up to the camera.
Oh.
Shano.
There you go.
Here we go.
So Winnie.
Winnie, all right, yeah, cool.
Was it the Winnie? Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. It glistens off the screen. Do you still have your Christmas lights up? Never mind. We'll get to that later.
And just to make note that question sort of came from Joey Burks at Joey Burks on Twitter.
Nice.
And he was really kind of reaching out and saying, do you guys like canning better than bottling? And I think you guys hit it right on the spot of what you like better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Ironheart guys are really cool. They rent half the space next door to us, so we get to see a lot of them and hear all their stories, their war stories about Long Trail, some long days at Long Trail, and all the other places they've been. It's kind of cool hanging out with them once in a while.
Those guys kick ass. They're great. They work their butts off.
Yeah.
So it's nice to work with them.
Yeah, it makes us happy to work here till 8 o'clock as opposed to 2 hours from home.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man. We have a chat question too. Did you want to read it? Who wants to read this one? Carla, Sean, toss up.
Sure, I got it. It's from. It's you have a fan in the chat room.
Ooh.
Hophead, AMT. Hophead was very excited about you guys being on the show tonight, and favorite beer right now is Fireside Smoked Porter.
All right.
Cool.
Which is a splendid brew. But getting to the question. The question is, how do you like being close to sort of a hotbed of breweries in New Hampshire right now in the Derry and the Londonderry area with new breweries that have opened up in the past year, such as From the Barrel, Kelson, and recently, as of last Friday, Rockingham Brewery.
Censor that.
Excuse us, the brewery cat is visiting us.
Oh, hey. We love cats on the podcast. Come on.
Actually, it has been really, really great to have Kelson and From the Barrel and now Rockingham so close by. They are awesome people, and that it makes it all, fun. Is that we are happy to then say when people come into our tasting room, have you tried Kelson? Have you tried From the Barrel? Have you tried Moonlight Meadery? They're all right down the road, less than 3 miles away. And so it's made it really fun, especially for people to come into our brewery, in that we can turn them around and send them to all these other breweries that are literally right down the road. to make a better experience for just when you're brewery hopping on a Saturday.
What's ironic is when we decided to move here, it was just Moonlight Meadery. There weren't any breweries that we knew of. I'm sure they were all in planning, but we didn't know of any. And we're like, wow, Londonderry is like the hub of New England. How is there no breweries here? So,
yeah, I mean, it's no bash against Portsmouth at all, but a lot of people have this thought that the brewing scene's only in Portsmouth. That's where all the tourists are. That's where we got to go. But you along with everyone else is giving the excuse to go travel towards other breweries, which is great. And I mean, it's spreading all over New Hampshire. But yeah, I mean, you're putting Londonderry on the map.
Yes.
Well, in a 3-mile stretch, you can hit 4 breweries and a meadery.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost walk.
We actually had a what is it, Thomas Transportation?
Yeah, we had a tour bus just come through last Saturday.
Nice.
The tour.
Yeah. He's not necessarily marketing as like a beer bus or a beer tour bus, but they had 40-something people.
40-something people.
And they did a great job. I mean, it's a bus company, so they get good rates. But
it's a nice big coach bus.
Yeah.
They were doing the tour.
Awesome. Now, do I understand this right? And I don't know if this has been out, but do you have a special beer made for a special place in the mountains?
We do.
Oh yeah, that's the Waterville wheat.
There
we
it is, yes.
we just touched on earlier. I think Sean had it.
Oh, did you touch on it? Sorry about that. I was looking at my notes over here.
No, so we had we obviously being in Campton, Waterville's right next to Campton, Waterville Valley Resort. So we got talking to them this fall, and we had talked to them while we were still in Campton. But they came back and we said, yeah, you know what, this would be a pretty cool partnership. We spend a lot of time up there. We like to ski up there and hike and do all that fun stuff. So we got to thinking what would be a good après ski beer coming off the mountain, after you're burning runs and you're a little sore and you need something to refresh with. So yeah, we came up with Waterville wheat. Nice, refreshing, low ABV wheat beer. And so we've been up there on the mountain. We have events, I think, all winter long.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun over at. You can come catch us up at T-Bars or at Buckets, pretty much all the time, just about every weekend, doing some kind of event.
Very cool. You've talked a little bit about kind of how rapid your growth has been, and kind of the changes that you've gone through. But I'm just kind of wondering if you guys could reflect a little bit on what was the most challenging thing about going from that very small, you said I think a 1-barrel system, to kind of what you're doing now. What was the biggest challenge to get to
working
where you
together?
are?
So we stop it right there. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Period. No, that's definitely the hardest challenge. I mean, we're all three strong-minded people, so every decision gets the crap kicked out of it before before the answer is finally given.
But our original rule, like when we started, was that only one of us could freak out at a time. And it seems silly. But if only one of us is freaking out, that means 2 of us are holding their shit together. No matter what. So like today, when I was having my little meltdown about a video that we had to shoot for the beer challenge coming up, these guys were like cool as cucumbers. They're like, we're good. It's fine. I shot my video. No sweat. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
But no, I mean that's growth-wise. I think together being a team of 3 is nice because we do have the ability to have a bad day, and just kind of to lean on each other and kind of get through it. So.
And I mean, it may seem obvious, but money's always a challenge. Just making sure that we can have the proper infrastructure, equipment. So we're not burning out our employees, and we're making quality beer, and we can continue to grow. So that's always a constant challenge. You got to look in advance as far as you can go, and make sure that you're planning for it and funding it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on that note, speaking of I guess either having more funds, is it just you 3? Do you have another team of brewers that help you out, or how? What's the? Did you have any extra brewers in the house?
We do have a team of experienced business owners that help us with the funding as well as consultation.
Good. Cool.
So we do have some leadership on the team as far as experience goes, and that definitely cannot discount their help.
No, but as far as guys on the floor, though, no, we have Matt is a full-time brewer.
Yep.
Jordan is kind of a backup brewer, full-time cellarman. We got a great guy named Kenny who runs a lot of the front-end stuff for us. Then we have a whole front-end staff, who come in on the afternoons and on the weekends and things like that. But no, we're staffed up pretty good. And then we have a lot of guys who help us do tastings and events.
Yeah.
We have some outside guys now, but we keep growing. I don't know how many people we have on the team now, but it's probably around a dozen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine trying to be, I'm sure you can't be at all of your events, and your promotions, but if you do, you guys are insane. But you need those extra people to help you out, like bringing things to the events and doing things like that. So you need an army of 603. Yeah.
And I must say, we have hired the greatest people ever. I mean, they are people you would invite over for dinner to hang out any day. And so it's great just to come to work because they are awesome people.
Yeah, we've chosen to rely on our core team while we keep the business moving forward. So, whereas I was doing some brewing, Dan obviously started brewing. Luckily, we've been able to step back a little bit and help the business grow while our core team has just done a fantastic job at helping us do the day-to-day jobs.
Yeah, but we definitely couldn't do what we do without our team.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, so you have the special beer up in the mountains. You have 10 beers on tap, and you have an expansive list of bottles on the shelves, and you've already given us a look at a couple things you're planning on in the future. Is there anything that you haven't brewed that you are like, this would be pretty cool to either put on tap at our brewery, even as a one-off, or just to distribute? Any beers you're like, I want to make that kind of beer?
There's no beer that we have said we are not going to make. I know you mentioned sours before. That's one style that at least the three of us aren't really. It's not our favorite, but we know there's a market for it, and our brewer, our primary brewer, he likes them, and he wants to brew one day. So we'll find the time. We'll put it on tap here. I don't know if it would ever hit the market, but that's the fun of having a tasting room, a tap room, is because we can pretty much try our hand at any style beer, and if it fails miserably, then no one but the people who enter the door know about it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's awesome.
But
one of the other beers we were actually pretty privileged to make. This one, it's called CCL, and we made it for the city of Concord.
Nice.
Their 250th birthday, which is CCL in Roman numerals, is this June. So we designed this beer for them. It's not our typical label. Where you got our 603 on the side there, but there's the profile of the city and the gold dome and all that stuff on there. It's a real hoppy, we call it American ale. I use 7 different West Coast American hops in this sucker. Really proud of this beer. It came out fantastic. But this is one of those special kind of one-off things that we did. So this is being released at a bunch of events in and around Concord. You can find it on tap in Concord. But it's got a real tight distribution area because it is kind of a specialty. So if you have a chance, go try to find one of these. But no, we enjoy doing those kind of little one-off projects. And like Jeff was saying, we get to brew all sorts of fun stuff inside the tasting room.
Awesome.
When something really picks up, that's when we talk about maybe doing it production-wise. But with so many beers in the queue, so to speak, it's tough it's tough to keep up with everything.
It's nice though because we cross-train our core team so that we actually, like Tamsin said before, we have 3 or 4 of us who are capable of brewing. So what we do is we actually schedule test brews. We call them test batches, but really they could be anything from a sour to something that we're working on for a future seasonal, or maybe it's one of our standard beers that we're just trying to dial in a little more. We're always experimenting, which is good.
It's awesome. I'll give a special shout out to the Concord beer because myself and Mike Meredith were doing a book signing at Gibson's in Concord. And we had it on tap. Look at that. Poured just like that, tasted even better.
Your CPL pour right there.
Okay, can I just say quickly though?
I'm sorry, Brian. You'll have to repeat that. These
No.
guys are getting a little.
No, but I just saw a thing that said watch Tams Unflinch because in college, Dan used to be able to hit you with a bottle cap when he was opening a bottle. So Dan's opening a bottle, and I'm like, okay, don't hit me.
No,
That's
I was giving you praise for the CCL beer because they had it at a bookstore, and if they can have that beer at a bookstore, it's good in my book. It's perfect. Shout out to Gibson's and a hell of a bar and a bookstore too.
All right.
Awesome.
That is an awesome bookstore.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah.
Just getting into that, Dan. February 21st is coming up, which is the 6th annual Portsmouth Beer Week. Will there be a return of the special release made for Portsmouth Beer Week?
We actually put a new twist on it this year. So last year we did a black IPA. This year we will be doing a black double IPA.
Ooh.
So
it
we
is a
beer. It's
big
awesome.
beer.
it's a big 9% West Coast hopped beer. It's in your face. We've been drinking it here at the brewery for actually a couple weeks, going through our test batch.
Save some for the week. Oh, test batch. Okay.
Exactly.
That's fine.
When's the production?
Next week.
So next week we're brewing the
next
production
week,
batch.
Nice.
Yeah, we're really excited to release that one into Portsmouth.
Very cool. That's awesome. Is that just going to be at the festival, or is it going to be kind of throughout the week?
We're going to make. It's going to be a one batch shot.
Okay.
It's going to be primarily designated for Portsmouth Beer Week.
Cool.
And it'll be draft only. So no bottles, no cans, just draft only.
Right. Get to Portsmouth, everybody that's listening. Even if you're Craig from Mississippi in the chat room, get there.
Exactly. And those dates are February 21st, 2015 through March 2nd, 2015.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're looking forward to some fun events for that week.
Oh, man.
Very,
Yes.
very cool. We got a question for you that this is a question that we have actually asked almost every guest we've had on. And if you've ever tuned in before, if you've heard us talk about it, we call it our moment of Zen question. But we ask it the same to everybody, and we've gotten responses like all over the board. So I'm really kind of curious to hear from. I would love to hear from each of you guys. But the question is, we're in a boom of new breweries opening, and if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I really want to open a brewery. What advice do you have for me?" What do you tell them? So I would love to hear from each of you. What advice would you do if somebody today walked in and said, "It's my dream. I want to go open a brewery. Tell me what to do."
My advice to them would be think twice before leaving a good paying job. You better like what you do because it's a lot of work. And by the way, we love what we do, so that's not even a question. But yeah, there's a lot of rock star mentality in this industry. Like people like the spotlight, but it is a lot of head down, get the job done, no matter how long it takes, because the beer doesn't care. You have to take care of the beer like it's your baby, and it's not easy. There's some long days involved. But my advice to someone starting up a new brewery would be decide who you want to be when you grow up. If you want to be a nano brewery, brewing on a 3-barrel system where you have 1 or 2 employees, that's great. Just know that you're going to be doing that until you retire. But if you want to be, Budweiser or Sam Adams, go find some money. There's not a lot of glory in this industry behind the scenes, behind the beer, but you can have a lot of fun as long as you like getting dirty and doing what you do.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think it's truly you got to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
It's the thing I guess you tell people, you're 90 to 95% a janitor and about 5 to 10% a brewer. I mean, there's just so much lugging stuff around and cleaning stuff and hot days and late nights, and unless you're passionate about it, you're gonna burn out on doing it. But if you are passionate about it, then yeah, go for it. Give it a shot.
Well, and at that, though, one thing that's, I think, the most important is you're not becoming a guy who brews beer. You're becoming a brewer where you manufacture beer. So it's your job to manufacture beer the same way every time, every day, no matter what. no matter what might vary in your ingredients, no matter what might vary in your water that day, your beer has to be the same every day. And one thing that we are blessed with that we didn't even realize, I was a process engineer in my previous life. Jeff worked for a company
Whatever.
But whatever. But we had that engineering knowledge behind us that we didn't even think would be applicable. And here I am running, Six Sigma on the floor to make sure that our quality is the same every day.
I heard that. Yeah, I know what that is.
I love the question when people come in and say, "Don't you miss being an engineer?" And it's like,
You're like, I didn't leave it.
Here's something. I have to fix something or engineer something every freaking hour. So.
There's a ridiculous amount of engineering involved in owning and operating a brewery.
Oh man.
So it's not just being a brewer. I mean, you are a manufacturer of beer.
Yeah, manufacturer is a key word, and if you don't get that, then you're really not in it for the long haul.
And I'll give a special shout out to you guys because, and I wrote it in our little side chat, and we hear answers all the time, and we always strive to get a different answer. And Tams, I think you hit it on the head. And I think as people that listen to the podcast or hear about beer, they only think about the quality in quantity of like the bigger brewers, like the Sam Adams and things like that, but they don't really think about 15-barrel breweries like yourselves that, you're doing, you have the coverage that you do, but it's still crazy even though you're only supplying one state. So it was a great answer from a brewer that I'm sure we didn't really expect the answer like that from, because quality is key. So
but the beauty of this industry is the fact that brewer to brewer, everybody's a brother or a sister. We've actually gained a lot of knowledge working with Smutty Nose. Some of their key staff members have helped us out in the lab and on certain processes, and that's the beauty of this industry. I come from an industry before running this company. I came from a very cutthroat industry in the electronics world, and nobody would help anybody. I mean, everybody was seen as a competitor, whereas in this industry, I mean, yeah, when it comes to shelf space, there's very high competition, but brewer to brewer, it's amazing the camaraderie and the knowledge that gets shared.
Yeah.
Because I think people realize that, at least in our state, I'll speak for our state, that if 603 is doing a good job because From the Barrel or Kelsen is helping them, or likewise, then it's better for the whole state. It's not just about one brewery or trying to compete against every brewery. You realize that if you're making good beer and sharing your knowledge, then everybody's going to be doing it better.
I think our goal is to kind of build New Hampshire beer up as a brand. We're very active on the Granite State Brewers Association. So we're actually coming out with some cool. I don't know. I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit. Tamsin's she's the director of the marketing committee for the GSBA.
Yes,
and
nice.
A brewery passport will be coming out this year for New Hampshire. So we're super excited about that. Yeah.
That's a big
You've heard it
cat out of
first
the
here
bag.
on the
Yeah,
podcast.
so we had our first festival last year in Manchester. It went awesome. We'll be doing another festival this year.
Awesome.
But, and now we're starting to work with the Brewers Associations in Vermont and Maine and learning from them and kind of feeding off each other. So we really want to help elevate. Yeah, there you go. We really want to help elevate New Hampshire beer and make this the real deal in New England.
But what if I've already traveled, for New Hampshire beer, Brewing with Cedar Summit in stores now. I traveled all these breweries. Can I just get the passport filled out? No.
Sorry,
you have
buddy.
a book.
Start all over again.
You have a book. What else do you need?
Yeah, just bring your book.
I want the fame and fortune of a filled passport. So we're going around again. We're gonna do it again.
Actually, what a better idea is to take your book, Brian, and use that as the passport, and then people could get the brewery page stamped as part of the passport experience.
Sean, if you were part of my marketing team for this book,
call after the podcast. We might
give me my people, aka me, will talk to your people, and we'll just figure this out. Awesome. It's awesome. All right, well, that's very cool, and I'm looking forward to that because I know Vermont is well known for having a beer passport. Does Maine have one, Carla?
Yes.
Yes,
They
I
do?
do.
So welcome to the club. Here we go. This is awesome.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. We have a couple more questions, and we'll let you guys, carry on with your evening. But another chat question from Hophead. Do you have any interest in barrel aging, specifically bourbon barrels, since Dan seems to like his bourbon? And I had to like his bourbon, but it seems to like bourbon. I didn't see me like he likes his no.
Yes, actually, I do like my bourbon, and I'm very interested in barrel aging. I'm actually, I don't like doing anything half-assed. So I was actually just talking to Sean at the Maine Brewers Guild today, and I am going to go up and join some of the educational stuff they're doing at Allagash. To really dig into doing barrel aging properly. I can get a barrel and I can put beer in it and I can let it sit here, but I want to make sure we're doing it right. So yeah, I actually just signed up for that class to go hang out at Allagash. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So there will be some barrel aged stuff in the future.
A cask is also a barrel. Mm.
Sean, some cask beer.
Everyone's mind just exploded for a second. What? Get out of here. Oh, Sean with a moment of zen for a second there.
I just have a question. If you guys were gonna predict the future, where would you guys like to see 603 Brewery in 5 years?
Ooh, that's a long time. This last year's been kind of a road.
Yeah. You try to take it 6 months at a time. Yeah. I think we'd really like to continue to grow. New Hampshire is our #1 focus. We want to keep growing inside New Hampshire. We want to make a beer for everybody.
We want to be on a short list of everyone who crosses the border. I mean, let's face it, we are a tourist state. They got to stop at 603. We got to make sure that that's on their short list, and hopefully the name attracts them and the beer keeps them coming back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Geez, well, Carla, Sean, any more final questions? Perfect. I know Sean. Sean giggles. Do you have anything left to say?
Where's the cricket button?
Yeah, hold on, Brian, I'm gonna break your rule.
It's trapped in my wall. I can't find the damn thing. No. Most importantly, you guys are all over the internet as well. Do you have a website, Facebook, Twitter?
603brewery.com. Twitter
Okay, awesome.
is at 603 Brewery. Facebook 603 Brewery. It's kind of our theme. 603 Brewery.
Oh,
Instagram.
It's good.
Tumblr.
Instagram.
Tinder.
What's
Okay.
Flickr? Instagram 603 Brewery. Flickr is 603 Brewery.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we are everywhere.
It's a very complicated system.
That's good, but not a lot of breweries follow that system, though. So I like how you keep it consistent, and it's good. Do you have any events? You mentioned a few during our questioning, but any events they want to give a shout out to?
We always have a bunch of stuff coming up. If you go on the website, we keep a live calendar where we update all that stuff. Tasting rooms always open Thursday, Friday, 4 to 7, Saturday, 1 to 5. And
this Friday night, the beer challenge is starting at the brewery. So this Friday night.
We in Waterville this weekend too.
And we're also on Saturday. We're doing a Granite State on Tap event at Kathleen's Cottage in Bristol, and then we're also doing from 3 to 6 at T Bars in Waterville Valley.
So we have a few things going on.
There's a couple of things.
Friday and Saturday.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I want to let you go. But I don't want to let you leave at the same time because I feel like we've had a thing going here. This has been awesome. Any questions for us? Here's a weird one for you.
Did you want a brief shot of the brewery behind us?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
We'd
please.
love that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see. Bear with us here.
We've had a couple.
There have been some comments about the upside down kegs.
That laptop selfie right there.
Upside down kegs mean they're clean.
Yes. I'm going to
Nice.
trip over something here. Hang on. I'm working with you.
Someday, for
Alright.
fun, you should release a brewery and release a beer and call it EO9.
Somebody's on to our marketing team.
Did we have this on earlier? For some reason I can't get behind those kegs, but it's
That's
just
fine.
Yeah, we can see the tanks back there.
Okay.
Oh, you see 'em? All right, good. Yeah, the E09. That's a little code word for us.
Awesome.
But it has some history to it because our first canning run we used, our very first canning run, we used shrink sleeves, and a few of our shrink sleeves were put on upside down. And there's Mr. Leonard at the end of the canning line taking cans off. He's like, "Is the EO9 series something that I need to know about?"
That's awesome. Oh man. Well, I mean, thanks for the small tour. I mean, that was, and that was almost like a laptop selfie that we almost had, but it would have ended so badly if you tried it. So we appreciate it. But I mean, I'll raise a glass, Sean, Carla. Final thoughts, but to you
Raise a
guys,
can.
some serious success in the future and continued growth. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Cheers.
guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you. Oh, look at that! But that's the sound of everyone in their cars driving, listening to the podcast. And we will see you. Wait, actually, Sean, who do we have next week?
We have someone right down the street from Nashua, Greg Ouellette from Martha's Exchange.
All right.
Nice.
And
I had a
then
great-
A pioneer in the New Hampshire brewing in the New Hampshire brewing world.
most definitely. So again, thanks guys, and again, find them on 603brewery.com, 603 Brewery, all sorts of social media accounts, and most importantly, Portsmouth Beer Week for their double black, or is it Imperial Black IPA or double black IPA?
Yeah, double black IPA.
I'm so in. So all right, guys, we will see you, and cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.